today. There's a war going on inside your body. And what you need to do is learn how to slow it down, right? Well, for the first time now, somebody can measure whether you got a defense or not, or whether you're wide open and just taking all the hits. And that's what the scanner allows us to do. When we scan you, unfortunately, your score may be down here in the red zone. That is a bad score. You don't want to be there, okay? That's where most Americans scan. Okay, you could be up here in the blue zone, up here at 50,000 or more, all right? And that's where you want to be. That means you got high levels of antioxidant saturation in the tissues of your body. That can defend you against the onslaught of free radical damage, right? Where do they come from? Where do they come from, free radicals?
Environment?
Yeah, environment, mostly your metabolism. You breathe air that has oxygen in it. You have food you eat that has nutrients. And so you combust that food and water, that air and water, in your cells, and you produce some byproducts. And those are free radicals. Okay? And sometimes we produce more than others, okay? Our environment, somebody mentioned, is also where we get free radicals from, right? And where do we get those from? Almost anything that's synthetic, right? Like even these tablecloths, you know, they're made out of whatever they're made out of. Half the clothes you guys wear are rayon and nylon, slowly decaying every day. These fake ceiling tiles in this room right here, giving off little fumes all day long. It's just the way it works, right? You take those clothes to the dry cleaner, you bring them home, you stick them right in the skin of your body, and suck the chemicals right into your skin. Good job. That's a good one. Right? Yeah. At lunch, you go outside where you work, and your car's sitting out there in the sun. In the middle of the summer, it's 130 degrees inside your car. Everything inside that car is synthetic, from the steering wheel to the gauges to the carpet, the seats, everything. And you just sit in there, slam the door, and crank the AC and suck it all in. Good job. Yeah. And when you get off the 405, you're so frustrated, you know. You just want your dinner done, so you stand in front of your microwave and hurry up. Stick your phone on the other half of your head all day long. Give yourself a little radiation that side of your brain. It's the life we live. You know, it's just the world we live in. You can't escape it. So all you can do is defend against it. That's the only choice you have when you take positive steps. So it's something new that you need to think about is what are you doing to do free radical management in your body? Are you doing nothing? You're just taking all the hits? Or do you want to do something about it and slow them down? So what's the aging process anyway? A big part of it is the cumulative free radical damage you allow your body to suffer through the course of your life because you're ignorant or you're not paying attention. Well, now you can know. And if you've not been scanned, you better be scanned today before you leave this room. You better get everybody you love and care about scanned so you can help them. You need to get your score as high as you can get it and keep it there for the rest of your life. And it is critical. And I could stand here right now. I could give you hundreds, and I mean hundreds, personal examples of people I've talked to that are so grateful that they did what we said and they got their scores as high as they could get them because it really helped them with future health challenges, right? Let's talk about age lock for just a moment. All right, how many people here have DNA? Everybody's hand should go up on that. If you flunk that test, you're out of here. Okay? How many people believe your DNA is different today than it was the day you were born? A few people? You're wrong. If your DNA changed, they could never find the criminals. So your code is exactly the same code as the day you were born, right? So why do you change?
Free radicals.
Because the expression of that hard-coded DNA into the tissue of your body changes. That's why you look different. That's why we age. That's why we change over time. That's why we can take two identical twins, which I had at my Palm Springs meeting yesterday at noon, two identical sisters, identical, same code, and they look totally different at 50 years of age. Because they've both been in different environments, right? There's resemblance, of course, but they look different. So what causes the expression of our DNA to change the tissue of our body? Air, water, pollution, toxins, food, stress. I mean, there's a big long list, right? That's your environment. And so if the environment can change in one way, maybe we can change them back. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. And that's exactly what age-lock science is all about. So, there's a company in Northern California, in Santa Clara, in the Bay Area, and the name is Affymetrix. And Affymetrix came up with a concept and got all the patents to do a gene chip. Okay? And so it's an integrated circuit, and you can take strands of DNA, and you can lay them right in the top of the chip and analyze it. It'll produce a heat map, just like this. These are 52 different genes in that sample. And some of those are down-regulated, they're cold. Some are up-regulated, they're hot, they're red. Okay? And that's what the youthful tissue, those genes express themselves like this in young tissue. When we get to middle age, it could be a complete reversal of the expression we're looking for. And so what Nu Skin has the ability to do is that because we bought LifeGen, and they have the 35-year database of all this material, so they've got the key. They've got the example of what it's supposed to look like. And very few other people have anything like that, okay? And so we can take formulas, okay, call it this product, or any nutritional compounds, and we can play with them. We can try to mix them in certain ways and combine them in certain ways, and we can then feed them to test groups of people. And 90 days later, we can take DNA samples and put them in the top of an Affy chip, right? And we can look at them, and we can see if that intervention, if that change in their environment that we caused because of their new product, was able to reset those genes to make it act more like it did when you were young. Okay? So here's what's an interesting thing to think about, all right? So we have, this ability to do this, and in real-world terms, here's what it means. You can take this product, Vitality, which is intended to do natural energy production in your body, and it can change your level of energy. So when you were young, like in college, you could maybe do 2 all-nighters in a row, studying or partying, whichever one you were doing. Okay? And you could still function the third day. Okay, you're okay. But now, you can't even get to 10 o'clock at night. Something has changed in your body concerning the genes that regulate natural energy production. This product is designed to help reset those, so you have more natural energy, right? We can do it in your face. Our first age-lock product was called Transformation, and it's targeted for facial skin. And you can see changes in this woman in 90 days of using that product. Dramatic changes. Our latest age-lock product is this one. It's called TR90. Okay, we sold it out, $40 million in 2.5 hours a few months ago. We get another chance to buy it on April 23rd. One day, probably about 1 hour, you're going to have a chance to buy it. Okay? So this is an amazing product. It's the first genetic body reshaping program ever. Okay? The first genetic body reshaping program ever. So here's what we want to describe to you that this program does. It does 2 really unique things. One, it has components in this product that build or support the maintenance of all the muscle in your body while you're using this program. Number 2, it contains age-lock components that help to reset the genes that regulate fat metabolism and fat storage in your body, so we can mobilize the fat. Those are the 2 really unique things that this product does. No other product can do this. Okay? In the past, when people thought their bodies were not the shape they wanted them to be, they would do something called a diet. Don't ever do a diet again in your life. Diets destroy your metabolism and make you fatter. It's kind of a conspiracy among the diet companies. It's like a drug addict. They just keep you coming back. Okay? So you don't ever want to do it. You want to never do a diet again. It's been proven now that almost half the pounds that people lose on traditional diets are muscle. They lose muscle tissue along with the fat. You don't ever want to destroy muscle tissue, because muscle tissue is what burns most of your calories every day. Write this number down. Every pound of muscle burns 6 calories an hour. Every pound burns 6 calories an hour. Every pound of fat only burns 2 calories an hour. So muscle burns 3 times more calories per pound every hour than fat does, right? So the thing you really want to focus on is not fat, you want to focus on muscle. Because the more muscle you have, the thinner and more fit and good looking you're going to be and healthier you're going to be the rest of your life. Okay, when do you start? Yes?
I just have a question. When you say this product mobilizes the body fat, explain that when you say this.
Okay, we'll get to that, okay? So, and let's do this. We want to make sure we answer your questions, so it's not a problem, okay? But if you guys would just write them down. If you can come up to me after, because we do have some people that are counting on being out of here at 1 o'clock so they can come on their lunch break, okay? If you don't mind, happy to answer any questions. I'll stay as long as anybody needs to answer any questions, okay? So, and this is a good point. So, what we do, guys, want to focus more on muscle. Okay, building and sustaining muscle through the process, because it's going to burn the calories, right? That's the key thing that we're trying to accomplish. And that's what this program accomplishes. So what we say is we say, throw your scale away. Because the scale doesn't measure anything that's relevant. It's like it's a stupid measurement tool, okay? What we're trying to measure, all we care about is how many pounds of muscle you have on your body and how many pounds of fat, or your body fat percentage, on your body, okay? That's all we care about. The scale literally doesn't mean anything. Doesn't even matter, okay? So when you do a body reshaping program, what you're going to see is you're not going to see as many pounds lost because you might be adding muscle. That's what you want to do. Remember, muscle is really dense. It's thin and heavy. And so it's not bulky. Fat is the bulky thing, right? So that's why when we lose fat, we have lots of inches lost. But if we're adding muscle, we're not going to see very many pounds lost on the scale. So you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish and get your expectations set properly, or you'll be disappointed. And you'll have the wrong intention. You don't even want to have the pounds lost, right? It's different than that. If you're really big, you will lose pounds, yes. But you're going to see a big, major difference in inches. Huge difference. Okay. So let's jump into this. We'll just kind of show you some of these pictures so you can see. And before we do that, when do you start to lose lean tissue naturally? About age 30. Age 30, your body peaks in terms of its natural muscle mass, and you start to lose muscle mass just naturally. At age 40, this is something most people don't know. At age 40, you start to lose 1% of your muscle per year. And so that's why when we get older, our muscle tissue naturally comes down, which means we're burning less calories. And we don't usually change our food intake, so we just keep putting on more fat. The fat goes up as the muscle comes down, right? It's just natural. That's why we get fatter as we get older. So you need to do resistance training 3 to 4 times a week. You got to do it, guys. You have to lift some weights or find some way to do some resistance training 3 to 4 times a week for the rest of your life. How many of you here have taken care of elderly people that are in their 80s or 90s? Have you ever taken care of people that old or been around them? How thick are their shoulder muscles? Nothing. They're like bones. I mean, they've lost all their upper body muscle mass. They've lost all the muscle in their legs and in their butts. And that's where they get tippy. And they start to tip over, guys, because they don't have any muscle anymore to support them. And they break their hips. And then it's over. That's the beginning of the end when people break their hips, right? So this is critical. You've got to do some resistance training for the rest of your life. And if you're on a product like this product, and even you just do one shake of this the rest of your life every day, it's going to support lean tissue maintenance in your body. So this is really important stuff. What a different conversation than talking about a diet. People stand, oh, I lost 40 pounds. Idiots. I mean, that didn't even count. That's so stupid you didn't say it. Right? Okay. This lady, my goal was to get rid of my stomach. With Tiarametti, I lost 10 inches off my waist. So, you know, strip fat, keep muscle, look at the face, suck the fat off, right? Look at Danny here, we saw him yesterday. You know, lost 24 pounds, you know. I wanted to lose 24 pounds and blah, blah, blah. I lost 6 inches around my waist. And yesterday he said he's lost another couple inches. Yeah, just keep thinking, right? Look at this young man. He is a sick young man. This kid is pre-diabetic and he doesn't even know it. You ever heard of Syndrome X? Yeah. Where your blood gets out of whack? This guy's already got it going. He doesn't even know he's pre-diabetic right here. It's that mid-body visceral fat that men carry right here and women carry it about a foot lower right here. You've got to get rid of it. Because if you don't, you will be a diabetic. Got to get rid of that mid-body fat, guys. It has to happen, right? Look at this guy. 90% body fat lost, gained 5% muscle.